Let's go. All right, it is 6:30 p.m. I hereby call the City of Riverside Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Carpenter. Mr. Cron.
Here.
Mr. Schneider.
Here.
Mr. Timbrook.
Here. All right, we've got the minutes from last month's meeting. Any notes or corrections? Seeing none, the minutes stand approved as written. Okay, then as a reminder, please, when you're speaking, adjust the microphone, speak directly into it as much as possible when making comments. Okay, well, with that, I think we can launch right into our first public hearing case. So our first case is BZA case 23-007 at 1320 Woodman Drive. Would the city like to brief us on what's going on here?
Yes, let me just move a few things for our audience at home. Okay. I, Nia Holt, affirm that the testimony I'm about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct to the best of my knowledge. Address is 5200 Springfield Street, Riverside, Ohio, 45431. Like the chairman said, this is BZA case 23-0007 at 1320 Woodman Drive. This is a variance from section 1115.09 to allow an increase in the sign face area for electric message center. This includes LED signs and other electric moving signage. All falls into that category. The maximum permitted of this type of signage is 12 square feet in our sign code. The applicant is requesting 50 square feet, which is an increase of 316 and a little more of a variance increase. This is an aerial map of the site that we're talking about. You may be able to see the sign here. It's better seen in the site plan. This is an existing office building for this sign along the Linden Woodman corridor. Here's that site plan that I was talking about, and you can better see that 50 square foot sign we're talking about. It's got two faces, and I'll go more into the actual signage as you can see in the site photos. It is existing sign that has just kind of flat, static signage on the front right now, as you can see here. So this is straight on looking at the building. Here's some other signage you can see in other properties along that same side of Woodman Drive. This is another electric message center, and when I pulled the sign permit, they are actually meeting the sign code. This is across the street, and this is another view of that sign that is being requested today. So just looking purely at our code, this does not meet the standards for approval. It is a significant variance. It does alter because of how much of an electric sign this is. It is significant. There is no other sign of this size in that corridor. And this variance does not meet the spirit and intent of the code. And there's details in the staff report of that. This is the criteria for granting a variance as stated in the staff report. This is what you should be considering. Is there anything particular about this variance or about this property, about this sign that makes it different than any other sign lot in the same district? Does it meet all of the factors? Is any of the other properties going to suffer by granting this variance? Will the essential character of the neighborhood be changed? The spirit and intent of the code? Is this a substantial variance? And other factors you should consider are the applicant's knowledge. I know we go over this every variance case, so you should be very familiar with these. Your required actions are to either approve with conditions, or deny the applications. If you do need more time to consider or more information from the applicant, you can move to postpone this case. That is another option. Are there any questions for me? Or do you need to go back to any of the other pictures? The applicant did give additional information too that I passed out before the meeting. So if you have questions, he is here.
Okay, questions for the city before we move into the public portion?
What was the, do you have the actual dimensions of the one that you checked on? I think that was a State Farm one.
Yes, so that is 12 square feet.
It was 12
Mhm.
square feet.
Yep.
I do have questions.
You want to text me?
Um,
We have a board member who's a little under the weather,
Mhm.
so she may text me the question. I will stop.
I have quite a few questions. And because I'm not feeling really well, and I want to give this gentleman his right to answer those questions, and I would like to ask them because they're kind of one over another, and I'm really in no position today to have that discussion with you. I'm going to ask that we do this another day.
Would you like me to ask the questions for you?
Yeah, we could try that. We can try it. Let's see.
Start with anything you have for the city, and anything we'd like to ask of Naya.
Okay.
See if we can get through that first, and then we'll open the public portion, hear from the public. And see if we can come to something with the group that we've got gathered here.
Okay. So Naya, this is basically because of the whole signage would be LED,
Mhm.
right? He's
The-
not just talking about a portion
That's correct.
of it. Okay,
And that variance is the area, right? Not the fact that it's LED, but the area.
Yes.
Because we've seen that before come up on sign cases sometimes where there was confusion over whether we were talking about whether it was an LED sign or not, or whether it was the area size of the sign that was caused them to come in front of the
Yeah.
appeals board.
so the area is.
Yeah, and I know some applicants have wanted a larger sign because of the speed of traffic. And they were located on like 45 mile an hour or a higher speed. And I looked in this is not the case there. Now, do people speed on that?
What? No.
That that is very true, but it
Good.
was posted there.
Those are Kettering residents. So-
It's very different.
There is an LED sign.
Mhm.
That's in that same area. It's just smaller portion. of the
Yes,
sign.
yes. And I saw that when I was out and when I took the photos, I wanted to see how big that actual sign was. So I went back and had to dig through our records because that was issued in like 2015.
One question for the city. The current sign now is 5 feet by 10 feet.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else for Naya?
No.
Okay, all right. At 6:39 PM, I hereby open the public portion of the meeting. I believe the applicant is here, yes? Mr. Kolachowski. Kolachowski, okay, all right, pretty close. All right, please approach the microphone and we've got the oath up there for you, please.
I'm sorry.
Do we have the oath up on the podium there? Okay, please say the oath.
I, Jeff Koleskowski, affirm that the testimony I am about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct and the best of my knowledge, is correct to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. So
Um,
if you want to start by telling us what's going on, giving us kind of your side of it, and then we'll follow up with some questions.
okay, we've been in Riverside since 2003. for a mental health and addictions facility, for licensed by OMOS, some overlooking programs, my open groups. The building is, I think it was built in 1970, 1980, or it's 1979, 1980, somewhere in there. It's the original sign. It's just one of the backlit signs. It's kind of like anybody from that age, being myself, it's in fairly poor shape. I've been trying to spruce the building up, doing parking lot work, and of course the roof and stuff doesn't matter, but try to make it look a little bit nicer. LED signs seem to kind of be the wave of the future. We're actually also trying to expand a bit more. There's new technologies that are coming out, or relatively in the last 10 years. Transmagnetic stimulation, some stim wave stuff, to work with our patients that are pain and depression and addictions. So the hope was to kind of use the sign, be able to do some marking on, it, much like the guy has his sign down the street, this and that. I think they look nice. It looks better than a regular sign. It does, flash messages. So my thought was we could probably, talk to people, draw attention, like the time, date, weather up there. If there's a public announcement, something for Riverside, I'm not trying to bait or anything, but we could, you have like your fall festival, we could put that up there. I just wanted to look nicer, I could just replace the sign. One time we tried to do like print signs where we interchange them every once in a while, but then that got fairly expensive and design time, everything else just didn't work. With the LED sign, I kind of put some information there. I'm not very good at this. I apologize. I'm a 52-year-old social worker and this is not my thing, so I apologize. But just your standard dot matrix LED sign. It comes with a program where you can, like, I don't know, if I wanted to make a picture or something, you can load it into it and then I'll put it like on the sign itself. It's all automated. It comes with a 10-year warranty from this company. The company's been around for 20-some years. It seemed like a pretty legit place. I guess you never really know these days, but the history and the ratings are fairly good online. So kind of want to spruce it up. I planned on, it's negotiable, maybe turn it on like at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe turn it off like at 10 o'clock at night. So that way the light isn't bugging anybody. There's not really much residential. I think the house straight across from us is a rental property. The other two, one's an attorney's office, the other one, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I don't think it's residential. And then there's that side street, Bob Evans there. I think there's their houses. But so, but not so. I don't know if you ever came down like 75 through Piqua at night. There's a huge Paul Sherry sign that blinds you. That's not what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's horrible driving down the highway at night. So I want to be part, kind of be part of the neighborhood, and I always kind of feel like Riverside. I don't know. I like the little city. I like Woodman Drive has some sentimental value to me from adolescence. That's why I bought the building many years ago when it came up for sale. That's pretty much it. I apologize for maybe not being very technical.
No problem. No problem. All right. Questions for the applicants?
Far as for the applicant, I think LEDs, I'm definitely a person that likes the technology and moving forward and keeping up with everything. So the specifics really about this case is just the size. So you've got a 5x10 right now. Can we hear from you why you would need a 5x10 versus the recommended and what's in the code of being a 3 foot by 4 foot or a 2x6, 12 square foot?
I was hoping just to retrofit the sign. Basically, the poster, the sign, the bones of the sign are still really strong. I mean, it's just an old metal sign, concreted in, the electric's there, the box is metal. So just basically pull out the old sign, we can literally put in the new sign. I'd like one of the pictures kind of shows you the back of it, but it's set to where we could just put it right in. To me, make the most sense, and that way it wouldn't change the look of stuff. I wouldn't be having to, make changes to the sign structure itself or.
Other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have, let's see,
Would you like me to ask it?
yeah. The images being. Station.
Okay, will the images be blinking, flashing, scrolling, or stationary?
Well,
A lot of that is against our sign code. So we don't permit like blinking, flashing.
Right.
There's,
So this sign does have that.
we can talk to you about what's permitted in the details of the sign, should this be approved.
I
And
mean,
then-
any LED screen you
Yeah.
could do that with. I
Yes.
assume if the
Mhm.
applicant's variance is approved, that they
Yeah.
will then comply with the,
Yeah,
with the code on
Right.
what you can,
yeah.
and
And there's like a length
program.
of time a message has to be before it scrolls through, so.
that, yeah, scroll, and that's where it's
Yeah.
kind of, that's kind of what I envisioned, would have, maybe the name of the business is up and then maybe the date and time up and then, a magnetic stimulation, something like that's, it's nothing flashing. So once again, if you've been down 75, that take the sign.
I mean, I hate that.
Right back at midnight.
Yeah, even intensity levels during the daytime and nighttime are regulated by the code.
And I'm, and that's, I don't want to be. a nuisance.
Well, the image that you have on there, will the main image be stationary? So that would have to be stationary?
Yeah.
I'm-
Well, I don't know.
So you're asking like, will there be a portion of the sign that's stationary and then a secondary portion of the sign
Exactly.
that's
Oh.
going to be like the sign down
Like
the
the
street?
scrolling or whatever.
That will
Yeah,
have a
just
scroll,
a certain.
a message, actual message
Right.
center.
Like an actual fixed design that doesn't change. It just is lit. And
Yeah, probably, as far as I know, I could maybe split a sign and have like part of it stationary and part of it move, not, scroll, not.
Yeah, because so just to maybe partly answer, right? So I mean, what we have in the supplemental here has, kind of just what the basic square rectangle screen is, right? And so I guess if you're asking, is there going to be like like the one down the street has a solid piece and then the LED section is the message center, right? And so it has the scrolling or whatever. I actually don't know. Like it probably scrolls, I guess. I'm not sure
I
if it changes.
what I think is that if the LED lighting on, let's say,
Would you be-
70% of the portion is lit but stationary, just a fixed image of whatever he's desiring, and then the scroll on the bottom. That's what I'm
I
trying
guess
to.
you're asking if it's gonna,
So are you asking
Meet
for
the
more
code.
information?
I guess I'm asking both of you, does that meet the code? Is there kind of a modification or a condition in which the sign can be appealing, but yet not offensive? In LED, I guess that's my question. Can that is that a thing?
So Naya, can you talk about, because you're probably more knowledgeable than me, about what some of the regulations that anyone with an LED sign has? Because I think this has come up before in some of these sign cases about, you mentioned a few things earlier, the flashing, how long messages would have to be up, because we've all seen nuisance signs around places before. And so can you talk a little bit about what is in the code that if this variance is approved, the applicant would have to comply with?
Yes, so I was pulling that up.
Okay, okay, wonderful.
Yes.
All right.
So during the daytime, the intensity levels would have to be no more than 5,000 nits. I think that's the right word.
That's right.
What's prohibited, and then during the night is 1,000. There is no flashing, there is no pulsing, no rotating. Parts are not permitted. And then for the duration, that is where I lost it. Give me 1 second. At least 10 minutes, apparently.
Oh,
Okay. So, sir, you would understand that then if you had this variance, while the design options of what kind of what goes up there is open to you, you still would have to comply with those other parts of the code. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The picture would stay up for 10 minutes before it change.
Yeah.
Then how does? And I'm not
That's,
trying to
yeah,
just question, because like the State Farm, it's constantly scrolling across the wall.
so that sign was approved in 2015. This code was adopted in 2017. Yeah,
Grandfather.
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So I guess there is a way to modify and comply, but you're with the same. Now, let me ask you, with his same design, he can modify and comply.
Yeah, and it sounds like with this additional information that he has presented, this company can and has experience with working with signs that are close to intersections so that they can lessen the impact for heavily trafficked areas.
So you would be willing to work with the city
Oh, yeah.
and, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I can, no, the reason why because I understand what you're saying, you're trying to do really is the least with the mechanism of the sign that you can do, but by providing something updated, I get that. That's okay.
And with any sign plan that we would approve, which is with the sign permit, we would have to know what portion, what dimensions of the will be that static section, and which would be the one that at least has the message that would be scrolling.
And that kind of.
And this is a variance, so if you guys are gonna grant that, how much that is going to be, that would be, this would be the time
Mhm.
to make that modification.
So
You
we
guys
would
can do that.
approve with conditions.
Yeah.
And modifications.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's back to Naya really quick here. So this 12 square foot max has to deal with the LED part or the whole sign?
So it with the LED.
Just with the LED? Okay. All right.
Now. If it, so. If we're talking about part of the sign being static, then part of the sign being rotating or scrolling. The part that was static would still be per se LED, right? But it just wouldn't change.
Yeah, and I think in my opinion as staff, I think that would be would not be as great an impact on traffic and would be closer in line with the code.
And when you say half, you're cutting it, you're cutting the screen this way, but when I say half, I'm cutting the screen.
Horizontal.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm assuming with the program, I can do whatever.
okay.
To me, it'd make more sense to have kind of, but that's just my. opinion.
Yeah.
Where it could come, the bottom half, the top half, or vice versa.
Any other questions for the applicants? Good, good. Okay, at 6:54, I'll close the public portion. Thank you.
Thank you.
What-
Forgive me, do I stay or?
Yes, so we'll enter into now our deliberations right here. We'll talk through and then we'll vote on whatever the next step is and make a ruling from there, work through the rest of the agenda. You should stay. Yeah. Sorry, in short, yeah, sit and hang out with us. Okay. All right, so let's launch into then some discussion on this. So there's a current 5x10 sign there already,
Mhm.
right? It's old.
Mhm.
It looks like an old sign that's been sitting there. These are the nice new LED signs that look great sitting there. I would take some, I would disagree with the city on their assessment of the impact of having this larger sign there in the same spot where one already exists and how distracting it may or may not be. I believe the city cites something like increased. I can't find it, of course. Here we go.
316. Is that what you're saying, the increase?
Yeah, well, so they talk about the increase and then they talk the essential character of Woodman South Corridor being altered. I certainly disagree with that. I understand that there are no other electronic message centers of that size. There are plenty of other signs. There's plenty of other lit signs and there's plenty of other message. There's the other message center that's just a few parcels down, I guess. The increase in traffic accidents and emergency calls, I don't understand that I don't understand how that squares with the same restrictions that the applicant's going to be held to by the code for what can go on the sign anyway, right? So if they had an LED sign that fit the right sizing, it's going on there anyway. So I would take issue with that piece, basically with every single one of these pieces. I guess what I'm saying is I don't see any problem with granting this variance as is for the 5x10 LED sign. Mostly because I don't think it changes the character at all. And I don't think it's a significant departure from what the applicant has on site already. Thoughts on that? Reactions?
No, I don't have any thoughts on it besides the fact, I guess I do have some thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Ellie,
Let's hear 'em.
Yeah, the LED signs, we've got code in place here at Riverside for lighting during the day and at night. The distraction, or you might say the wow factor of somebody driving by it for the first time compared to somebody driving by it for the 50th time, it drastically changes, right? So, I mean, I drive by all the way up to Harshman the last 6 weeks, and I could probably name you every sign because I've driven by it multiple times, but I don't pay attention at the same time. So, I mean, a 5x10 sign that's about 20 feet off the road, with multiple other 4 or 5 foot signs that are right there, depending on the size, lengthwise. I agree. I don't think it's going to make a huge deal if you wanted to have some type of static and something scrolling, I think that's up to his choice.
Agreed. Thoughts?
I think it's going to look good, honestly.
Anything then?
I just approve with conditions and modifications. Of course, that means with the code. That would be a little bit more stationary because it is close to the road.
Would what percentage or size or split? I know we kind of talked about that a little bit a couple times of the stationary. Would you be looking at, it to match the 12 feet maximum for the
As far as the scrolling, yes. And then as far as maybe a stationary LED picture or motto or whatever he wants to use as an advertisement.
Okay.
But I think the meeting of the minds would work on this one with the city. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Personally, I see no reason to restrict it at all. To add the conditions, I suppose, or modifications to the sign. I think kind of like you were saying, right? I mean, I think it's kind of up to the applicant how they do. Any other discussion on the splitting of the sign and how that might go? Okay. Regarding case number, BZA 23/007, I move that we approve. Do I have a second? Without conditions, I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
Second,
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Timbrook,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
yes,
Mrs. Carpenter,
Saying without conditions.
Without conditions.
I'll say, no.
Mr. Cron.
Yes.
Okay, and the motion carries. All right, so the variance is approved. All right.
I'll be in touch tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other cases on the agenda. So launch us straight into some zoning administrator discussion topics.
It is that time of year again. I have drafted the 2024 meeting dates for you to look at. That would be the column in the middle. And you are the white lines. If there is anything that you need to change or that needs to be moved, please let me know. I try to be considerate of any holidays or city closings. So please take a moment to review and let me know.
Nothing's jumping out at me as an issue.
I'm gonna be on
December.
vacation for all of it.
And we love that for you.
Yeah.
There is one, the July meeting, I mean, that I will also be on or I'm planning to be on vacation, but that's a long ways out. We can
Okay.
talk about that closer too.
And we are still working very hard to find a fifth member.
Yes.
And remind me, who's the vice chair? Or the first meeting, we would have to
We would
re-elect.
re-elect, yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think
Yeah.
we need to dive into that too much today, but the vice chair would have a July meeting to run, to chair.
Yeah,
So we should think of that when we're electing our chair and vice chair next
Yes.
year.
Somebody's looking at me.
Funny how that works. isn't it?
Below my guy on the totem pole.
yeah.
Nothing Naya jumps out as.
Okay.
As an
No,
issue.
not at this time.
We'll look at this though and think,
Although I do need to know when is December's meeting
Oh.
for this year.
oh, maybe that's a good point.
It is, well, if we have one, I have it, when I
Okay.
looked at the records, we have not had one in like 15 years.
Okay, all right.
But
Okay, let's continue that streak.
Um,
That's ideal.
I will look that up.
Okay.
'Cause I know we moved it around last year.
I think we moved it up, didn't we?
I think
Mhm,
probably.
We did,
Probably similar to this, probably the week before.
yes,
Probably.
we did move it up. I can find it. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm going to the city website.
Yeah, I didn't move it in my calendar, so I still have it. Sean is the 26th, but we probably moved it up or should discuss doing so.
Yeah, that's the same thing here. I still have it the 26th, but
Mhm.
I have it as December 19th.
okay.
Excellent. Because the Quick Lane Bowl is the 26th and Bowling Green might be playing it.
But if we keep on trend,
Priorities, that's right. Okay, all right,
As of
so.
right now, it looks good.
So December meeting, yes, is the 19th. November meeting is still the 28th, right? I believe. So. I think
that's right.
Okay, so those are our next two meetings to round out the
Mhm.
year and that everything else is on. It's paper here.
All right. Then I'll
Okay.
just confirm with planning commission when they meet and get this rolling.
Thank you, Naya. Any other matters by the board?
Oh, just, I know I have I'm gonna start registering people for the planning and zoning conference next week. I have you two, right? You want to go December 1st? Anybody else before I register? Okay,
That's not gonna work. no.
okay. All
Appreciate
right,
it, though.
Yeah.
I will double check. Yep. Yep. Yep, and if I find anything else that is online for you two, I'll let you know. Yep.
Appreciate that.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.